It's
Let's
now
ride.
time for the words that are recited before each and every game here at Dodger Stadium. Take it away, Finn.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
What's going on, Dodgers fans? Thank you for listening to another episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast. We are presented by the FanSided Podcast Network. Kevin Klein here. Hope you guys have been having a good month of January, getting closer to spring training, just a little over a month away, 69 days till opening day, so that's pretty nice. Your Dodgers haven't done much recently. There's been some personnel changes. Earlier this afternoon, they announced that Steven Nelson of MLB Network and Apple TV Plus is joining the Dodgers broadcast booth, if you're familiar with his voice. Speculation is he'll be announcing 50 games as Joe Davis is kind of working his way over to being the main man of Fox. So we'll see how that shakes out later on this season. And then in the higher ups, Chris Woodward's coming back to the Dodgers. He'll be some type of special assistant to the GM. He was the Dodgers' third base coach from 2016 to 2018. But other than that, not too much going on. Miguel Rojas was interviewed by Chris Rose just recently, and he talked about what he's expecting as he makes his return back to the Dodgers. He's looking to be a mentor and leader, kind of like you guys pointed out last week when the Dodgers had acquired him. And he's actually already working with Miguel Vargas and helping him improve defensively. And he's going to reach out to Diego Cartaya as well. So that's exciting stuff right there. But that's all I got right now in terms of Dodger news. Jake Reiner, how are things going for you?
Things are going well. Getting excited for spring training, which is really close. You just mentioned how far away we are from opening day, but spring training is very, very close. And I'm also really pumped for the World Baseball Classic coming up in March. I'm going to try to make an effort to get to Arizona to see some of those games because I'm really pumped for this USA team. It's the most stacked I've ever seen it since the World Baseball Classic began. So really excited for that. I think the addition of Steven Nelson is great. I think that the Dodgers probably wanted to find someone else to be on the TV side when Joe Davis has his Fox duties that he needs to attend to. So it means that Tim Neverett, friend of the show, will probably just be exclusively on radio, and then you've got Steven Nelson filling in. So the reaction's been pretty positive from all Dodgers fans out there, so that's pretty cool. A lot of cooks in the kitchen, though. A lot of different broadcasters the Dodgers have, so we'll see how that pans out. And then Chris Woodward, I'm glad he's coming back to the Dodgers. He was pretty decent third base coach, although that one blunder, as we've all pointed out in the 2017 World Series, will haunt him forever. But I'm glad he's back. So yeah, just getting excited for spring training for sure.
All right, David Rosenthal, anything new with you, or should we just get into some listener questions right away?
Let's get into it.
All right, couple good questions. I think I'd like to start off with this one. I think this is a first time questionnaire from this listener, so want to give a special shout out. Really appreciating this question, and it comes from @GrubbinGunner on Twitter. Who's going to be the Dodgers comeback player of the year? And he would like us to know that he's got his eyes on Max Muncy. So guys, is Max Muncy your pick for the comeback player of the year, or are you going somewhere else?
That's definitely my pick. I mean, you saw it. You saw him come back to life in the second half of last year, and then you throw in the shift being banned, and it's a perfect storm for Muncy. I think he's a year removed from that shoulder injury. He's primed for a bigger role offensively this year with a lot of departures. I think you're going to see him hitting no less than fifth at any point, probably in the four hole, I would guess. So I think he's set up really well to succeed with no more, short right fielder, the shortstop playing in short right field against him. So you're going to see his average go up, in my opinion, and you're going to see his production go up.
Jake?
Yeah, I think if we all took a poll, we probably would select Max Muncy as the person we thought that would be the comeback player of the year. Kevin always likes to go a weird, different direction at all times. But my pick would be Dustin May.
That's my pick.
Yeah. Okay. Dustin May, but I just want to put it out there that I would have chosen Muncy over Dustin May. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Dustin May, I think if he is healthy and is pitching, he's going to be great. I mean, we saw what happened before he got injured in May of 21. He was lighting the world on fire, dominating the best hitters in the league, dominating Manny Machado. So I think if he's healthy and ready to go, I think he's going to. It's almost as if we acquired him in the offseason. Like that's kind of
100%.
the way I look at it. So for him to be healthy on the mound, I think he's going to be the comeback player of the year.
I think Dustin May is the easy pick. 5 starts in 2021, over 23 innings. He had 35 strikeouts. The stuff people were saying this is Jacob deGrom, and then he had the Tommy John surgery. And this most recent season was going to be a lost cause no matter what, just because of coming off the Tommy John, not having the mechanics. Now he gets a full off season and spring training to work out with the guys. And as long as he can stay healthy, I think he's going to look like those early flashes of that 2021 Dustin May. I'm talking 20 to 28 starts, somewhere in that range, depending how the Dodgers are going to manage his workload. And he should have a K through 9, probably 10 or 11, I would estimate, at least 1 strikeout per inning.
Definitely. And I think some honorable mentions here could be Chris Taylor. That would be nice to see him bounce back in the second year of that huge contract we gave him. And then Gavin Lux too. Gavin Lux, kind of injured in and out of the lineup last season. The spotlight's going to be pretty bright on him at shortstop. So those are the 2 kind of honorable mentions there too.
I'm not sleeping on Noah Syndergaard either. This could be a really breakout season for him.
I forgot he was a Dodger.
Yeah, the potential comebacks of Syndergaard,
what about Jason Hayward
and JD Martinez?
How about Daniel Hudson?
Yeah, that's a great candidate.
I think he's going to come back and maybe lock down 30 saves this year.
We'll see.
I'm insistent that he's going to be the closer.
Going to be electric when they name him closer.
At Castillo Jason, gentlemen, I would like to hear your predictions on the opening day lineup, including starting pitcher.
Okay, I can take the lead on this one.
Go for it.
So you're going to see Julio Urias start. Okay, so this is kind of tough to predict because there's a lot of platoons and we don't know, maybe a possible trade, but they are going to face Arizona. It's going to be Zach Gallen on the mound for Arizona, right-handed pitcher. So I'm going to go with Betts in right field, Freeman at first base, hitting second, Smith hitting third, catching, Muncy at second base, hitting fourth, JD Martinez at DH, hitting fifth, Gavin Lux at shortstop, hitting sixth, Miguel Vargas at third base, hitting seventh, Chris Taylor hitting eighth in center, and hitting ninth in center field. I'm going to go with James Outman. I think he's going to get a real shot to win that job in spring training, and I think with the right-handed pitcher on the mound, it's going to be him or Trace Thompson unless there's a trade. And I think he's going to have a good spring training. I mean, everything we saw from him last year was phenomenal. So I have no reason to think otherwise that's what we're going to get from him. So I'm going to put him in the opening day lineup.
What do you think, Kev?
I think the Dodgers are going to go back to Clayton Kershaw to being their opening day starter. I don't know if this is his last season, but it very well could be. And I think the nostalgia factor is just going to weigh very heavily on the fans and Dave Roberts. So I think they give him the nod out of respect. And as good as Urias has been, I wouldn't necessarily say he's earned being opening day starter. He is also on his contract year. So I'm sure they'd be doing him kind of a favor by giving him the opening day credit. That would essentially boost his value in free agency potentially. But I think they will go Clayton Kershaw. Lineup wise, I think I agree with everything across the board. I'm still not entirely sold that this is the complete roster yet, but given everything that they have, it will be a big battle between James Outman and Trace Thompson, I would imagine, with Jason Hayward kind of fighting his way into making the roster, and I'm sure that'll happen as long as he doesn't have a disastrous spring training. They'll have some roster flexibility once Walker Buehler and Blake Trinan can move to the 60-day. But yeah, I think I'm just not really ready to make up my mind on who's starting it until I see more in spring training.
Is it a home game or away game on opening day?
I believe it's away.
Not sure.
I mean, because that could determine whether or not they go Kershaw or Urias. Kershaw could be the home opener, but I would go either way. I think we would be better off going with Julio Urias, just based on the fact that he kind of took over as the ace this past season. So I would lean towards Julio.
It is home, by the way.
It is home. Okay,
Yeah.
so then it could be either Julio or Kershaw. Could, you never know. It may behoove them to go with Kershaw actually, just for the home crowd. But I agree that, kind of with the rest of the lineup that you guys were saying, spring training is going to be one of the most competitive spring trainings that we've seen in a while, because there's so many openings and so many guys not only fighting to be on the roster, but fighting to be in the starting lineup, fighting for a position. So we're going to see that Outman, Trace Thompson, Chris Taylor, I think needs to prove that he had a good spring, just to see where these guys are, so that we know who we're going to be relying on starting most days in and out of the lineup. So again, it's a wait and see, and I'm with Kevin on this. I just don't know that we're done with this roster at this point. But as it stands, I like it. I really do like it. I think it's as solid as it gets, and I think the fact that nobody is really paying attention or really not really ranking us anywhere near the top in any of these like power rankings or top rotations, top bullpens, all that stuff. I love that. I love to fly under the radar and kind of prove everybody wrong, because this team is much better than people think it is.
All right, let's get into this new draft. And this draft will be brought to you by TickPick, who's offering a brand new feature on their app and website, Price Freeze, which essentially means, have you ever wanted to go to an event, but you're worried about pricing increasing? Well, now you can freeze prices and save money through the TickPick price freeze feature. And you can also save $10 by using the promo code Incline on the app. Your first purchase of $49 or more. That's just TickPick, no service fees. Great product. NFL wildcard or NFL divisional round after a crazy wildcard weekend. So use TickPick, go see your favorite sports team, go to a concert. Proud supporter of the Incline and this draft. I don't know exactly how to explain this draft, so I'll let David explain in a second. But what I think is going on here is craziest blunders of all time, not just sports, but in the history of anything. We're going to each do a roster of 5 snake draft. Is there anything I'm missing, David?
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. We're going to draft the world's biggest blunders in all of history. Any topic, whatever you think the biggest blunder committed by anybody was, this is what we're drafting. And we're going to compile, like Kevin said, 5 each, and then we're going to have people vote on it and determine a winner of who nailed this the most. So we do need a draft order, Kevin.
Jake, pick a number between 1 and 100. You're on mute.
I'm on mute. What I said while I was muted, 42.
There we go, Jackie Robinson.
David, what is your number?
77.
All right.
James Outman.
I'll go with my favorite number, 25. And here's the generate. I don't know if you can see it.
We'll trust you, Kevin. It's okay.
54. So, Jake, you were the closest. You will go first. And then it looks like I would be second.
Great. I have to go first.
Wait, is 54 in the middle of 77 and 25?
I didn't sign up to do math when I
I think it is exactly in the middle of our two numbers.
That's pretty hype, honestly.
All right. Well, we should probably figure out who goes second. Did not expect this part.
Jake, give us figure it out for us. Ask us a question or something.
Okay. What
Oh God.
I can't think of a question. Fuck. What is do you know? No, you wouldn't know that. I don't know. Can
Kevin,
I just
do you want to
pick?
go second or third?
Can I just pick?
I'll go second.
All
You're
right.
gonna have to edit this shit out, Kevin.
I'll round it. I'll round us off in
Just
the
make a
three
note
hole.
of that.
All right. Jake, you are on the board.
All right. I am the worst candidate for this, but I did some research on this. And I was trying to think of what would, what blunder had a long lasting impact afterwards, after it occurred. And so I have a bunch on my board, but I think I'm going to go with a personal blunder. And this was the 1994 World Cup. This, you may know this as the ESPN documentary 30 for 30, the two Escobars.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Andres Escobar
On my
scoring
board.
his own goal in the 1994 World Cup for Colombia. And the blunder ended up getting him killed. So I think that as unfortunate as it was, he scored his own goal, and then he was murdered shortly thereafter at a nightclub.
All right.
That's definitely worthy of a first round pick.
I'm changing the tone here. This was the easiest one for me. I'm going with England, Britain blowing a 13 colony lead. This is maybe one of the biggest David and Goliath disasters ever. First of all, there was like 50,000 loyalists that were loyal to England, and England said, nah, we don't trust you, bro. We're going to use our own troops. The whole way that King George III handled this colony to begin with, the taxation without representation, pissing off the colonists. Little did he know that this 13 colonies would eventually become 50 states and what is now the United States of America, more powerful than England. But you take it all back to 1776, everything was in England's court and they blew it.
Also on my board, solid pick. Okay, I'm going to go bookend picks here. I'm honestly surprised this didn't get chosen first or second, but my first overall pick is going to be the Titanic. I mean,
that was on my board.
Can't let that happen. You just can't. I mean, you are trying to start a whole new industry of luxury travel, passenger cruise ships. You got a couple thousand people on board, and you just hit an iceberg. You just can't let that happen. So that set back the entire cruise boat industry, whatever. Obviously, it was also a tragedy. They made the movie about it. There was probably room on the little floorboard for Leonardo DiCaprio as well. But in terms of blunders, this is up there. I mean, you just, like I said, can't happen. It just can't happen.
Can I add something?
That was my number 3.
Yeah.
Can I add something because that was on my board? It's just the arrogance. Okay, so this ship had the capacity to carry 64 lifeboats, which would have saved more than 3,500 people, and instead they only carried 20 lifeboats.
Yeah.
Also,
all around.
Apparently, the guys watching out for the iceberg didn't have binoculars. What is that?
Like, what are we doing? Like,
they said it, and they
also
also
is watching you do this.
And also determining that it was an unsinkable ship, that was dumb too.
Yeah, that's like Dave Roberts saying we're going to win the World Series no matter what. It's like, you got to back it up if you're going to say that shit.
Yeah, good pick.
Okay, my second round pick is going to be the Trojans accepting the Trojan horse into the gates of Troy from the Greeks. 10-year siege. 10-year siege in this war. The Greeks are outside the city for 10 years. They cannot break through. They're on the brink of going home, packing it up, calling it a night. See you later. And the last-ditch effort, you're going to make a wooden Trojan horse. And if you're a Trojan, if you're the king, King Priam, what are you doing? You have the war won. It's over. They're gone. It is good night. And because you're so arrogant and you're like, oh, well, this is like a nice gesture. After 10 years, you're going to accept this into the city. Just can't do it. Biggest blunder ever. Obviously, we know what happens. The city got absolutely ransacked, destroyed, burned. King dies. Everybody dies. All because you let this stupid little wooden horse inside the gates of your city. You had the war won. You blew it. You blew a huge lead. 3-1 lead, 13 colony lead. This is worse. This is one of the biggest blunders in history. You just can't do that. You had it won. It's over.
That's a very good historical reference, but kind of put me to sleep. Not gonna lie. Let me give you something better. A bigger blunder that I think more people care about. How about the Boston Red Sox selling Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees for $60,000? Maybe the greatest baseball player ever, that some would say. He went on to hit 659 home runs for the Yankees, won them 4 World Series. And what happened to the Red Sox? They were put into an 80+ year drought, the Buckner era, all the curses of the Bambino. Meanwhile, Babe Ruth and the Yankees were just crushing everyone left and right. They won 4 World Series, and it's not like he was bad with the Red Sox. They won 3 World Series with Babe Ruth. So cheap bastard. Karma was a bitch. 2004, they finally flipped the script, but that doesn't matter. Babe Ruth, huge blunder right there.
Solid.
All right. So for my second pick, I'm going a little political on us here. So I'm going with the 2000 election, Bush v. Gore, the recount. They were recounting the votes in Florida. Then the Bush team appealed to the Supreme Court. They stopped the recount. Bush ended up winning because he had the Electoral College, even though Gore had the popular vote. Anyway, so Bush wins. And because of that, we kind of are set on a crash course that leads to the unnecessary invasion of Iraq and all of the deaths that came from that. So it was just a domino effect from that point. So I'm going 2000 election.
Some hanging chads.
Hanging chads, Pat Buchanan. I mean, the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, you get another pick.
Right. Okay, I'm going entertainment on us.
Okay.
Blockbuster in the year 2000. We're sticking with the same era.
Oh.
Blockbuster in the year 2000 could have bought Netflix for $50 million because Netflix was in trouble financially. They could have bought Netflix for $50 million, but the CEO of Blockbuster thought it was a joke, and they didn't end up buying Netflix. Well, we saw what happened to Blockbuster. They filed for bankruptcy. All their stores went belly up, except for that one in Bend, Oregon, and the rest is history. And it's a bummer too, because I miss Blockbuster. It was a childhood thing. And now Netflix is sort of like a giant in the entertainment world. So huge mistake there for Blockbuster.
Yep.
You had that one stolen from me because I was going to go with that one later on. I don't know if you probably looked that one up. I just knew that one off the top of my head, but
Are you saying Jake reached for that in the second round or third round?
I don't think he reached, but he clearly did some Googling, like he said.
Well, I knew that had happened, but I had to look up the year, how much money it was. Like I had to.
To be fair, I didn't know that happened, so I thought it was a good one.
Well, there you go. Educational. Here we go.
Well, as long as you knew that happened, then you have my respect for that pick.
Thank you.
All right. I'm moving things around here. We're going back to my patriotic ways. This country can't do anything right. We're going to bash Russia here because they sold Alaska to the United States.
That was my next pick.
That was on my board.
$2 million. Little did the Russians know that Alaska is a paradise of oil. We're talking a multi-billion-dollar state because of the Alaskan pipeline and the natural resources that they have. So Russia took the huge L there once again to the USA because we know what's up. We got Alaska, one of the biggest all-time fleeces ever. So welcome to the US of A, Alaska.
All right. Well, I just got cucked out of my third round pick, but I will persevere. 2 cents an acre, by the way. 2 cents an acre for Alaska.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm going to shift, same kind of mindset here. I'm going to go with the Louisiana Purchase. I'm going with France selling pretty much half of the United States to America for $18 per square mile in 1803. That's parts of Arkansas, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Minnesota, Louisiana, New Mexico, Texas, the Dakotas, Wyoming, Montana, and Colorado for basically nothing. They just needed to, they were having their own troubles in their own country, and they just wanted to just get rid of it. Awful. You basically are responsible for creating most of the United States. So all-time blunder. You could have got way more from us. Your own troubles kind of cost you there. So France, you kind of blew that one in terms of what you got back in the return. Fourth round, starting off. I know you guys probably won't have this one, but I'm just going to get it out of the books here. You're probably going to be bored, Kevin, if you were bored about the Trojan horse one. So strap in. The fall of Constantinople in 1453. One of the worst blunders in human history. One of the most fortified cities to ever exist on the planet. This is the Roman Empire. This is the Byzantine Empire. After they had moved the capital from Rome to Constantinople in what is modern day Turkey now. You completely blew this siege. The Ottomans, led by Sultan Mehmet II, were trying to conquer. They had been trying to conquer it for decades. Finally, Justinian, the emperor in Rome, eventually is responsible for this city falling. And the biggest blunder of all is he had called for help from reinforcements from the Pope. And the Pope just sat on his hands and delayed it. And he sent a Genovese fleet, and it got there with soldiers 3 days after the fall. So not only that, apparently a Byzantine soldier also left a gate open to the city where eventually the Ottomans broke through and took over. And that's why the Middle East is what it is today. That is responsible for the entire region, North Africa, the Middle East, all of that is because the Pope in 1453 failed to send help in time. So all-time blunder. That was the end of the Roman Empire right there. So way to blow a 2,000-year-old empire for no reason. So good job, guys.
Let me wake you guys
yet,
back
Kevin?
up. We're going Portland Trail Blazers way back in the 80s, taking Sam Bowie second overall with Michael Jordan left on the board, falling to the Chicago Bulls third. For a little history lesson, Hakeem Olajuwon went to the Rockets first overall. They got 2 rings out of it, but Portland felt like they needed a center. Bowie was just kind of okay in college and already had some history woes, but they decided they needed the big man, and they felt like they were good in the backcourt. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan would go on to become the greatest, that's right, the greatest athlete of all time, led the Bulls to 6 titles, numerous scoring titles, I think a defensive player of the year, could have kept going. He retired, tried to play baseball. That's a little bit of its own blunder in itself. Came back, won 3 more titles, and he is the Air Jordan. He is the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Blazers, Bulls, that mess.
All right. So I finish off my picks right here.
2.
Okay.
You got 2 right here.
All right. Boy. So I don't love this, but I'm going to go with this anyway. The original Star Wars, okay? In the 70s, nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted it. They took it to United Artists, Orion, Universal, and Disney. All of them passed on it. Eventually, 20th Century Fox took a shot on it because they liked the filmmaker and they wanted to trust him. And the rest is history because Star Wars ended up just absolutely blowing everybody out of the water. They've created numerous movies, TV shows, merchandise, theme park rides. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And so for all those studios that passed on that, they kind of fumbled the bag originally with the original Star Wars. So I'm going with that. And then to round out my pick, I'm going with USA's invasion of Vietnam.
Yeah.
Huge blunder. Didn't need to do it. The reasons for why they went into Vietnam kind of were flawed, ended up not even mattering the fact that Vietnam was considering communism. It didn't really affect us, but what did affect us was all the troops that we lost in that war. We didn't end up winning, and that was one of the biggest blunders in world history, I think.
Very political right there. Well, since you stole my tech one, I have to pivot to a less exciting one, but I want to be diversified anyway. So taking you back to 1999, Excite was approached by a couple little nerds that ran this company that wasn't worth much at the time called Google. They said, we'll sell it to you for a little under $1 billion. And Excite said, nah, we good, bro. Well, Google is now worth over $800 billion. The dot-com bubble happened. Companies like Excite are irrelevant, and Google is the empire of search engines. I mean, what doesn't Google own these days? I mean, they own YouTube, they own Maps, they own Gmail, they have music. Google is everywhere. I mean, you can Google us and you'll find the podcast on Google. So to shut Google off like that, that is a huge blunder.
All right, I'm torn here for my last one. I have it down to 3 options. I like what Kevin's trying to do with rounding it out, with having a diversified portfolio here. I do have quite a bit of history already. I don't have a sports one. Like, I want to go with Benedict Arnold turning to the British. I really want to, and I really want to talk about that. I really want to talk about the Archduke Franz Ferdinand's assassination. Chernobyl, also on my board. But I'm gonna go with a sports one here, and I'm gonna go with someone who's close to my heart. I'm gonna go with 32 NFL teams passing on Tom Brady 6 times. He is the best quarterback ever. He has 6 or 7 rings. I'm not sure. I think it might be 7. You just can't let that happen. I mean, you just can't. You can pass on him in the first round. You can pass on him in the second round. You can pass on him in the third round. But after that, there's no excuse. He was talented at the University of Michigan, and we see what happens now. He wins in New England. He wins in Tampa Bay. And who knows? Maybe he'll win on his next team when he leaves this offseason. So passing on Tom Brady 6 times, 32 teams, unacceptable. All-time sports blunder right there.
All right, well, that's going to conclude the draft. So you can vote on Twitter and maybe Instagram, depending if I put a poll there.
Yeah, I lost this one. I mean, when you took Titanic, I should have gone Titanic higher, because I didn't think that. Well, did you had Escobar?
I was
on
eyeing
your
Escobar
board,
in
right?
the 4th or 5th round.
Okay, yeah, I just blew it right off the top. But anyway, that was fun.
I knew Constantinople was in the bag. I knew that wasn't going to get stolen. I was hoping to get Alaska, but I settled with Louisiana Purchase because I think Alaska is the bigger blunder of the two. But I like my squad. I think I did a good job rounding it out.
I feel pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I mean, if you love America, you're going to vote for me, because I got the American Revolution in there. I got Alaska. I got great sports references. I got Google. So I think this is a home run right here.
We'll see. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like David reached all the way back in history, and Kevin and I kind of hovered around sort of more modern times.
Yeah, depending on our voter demographic is going to determine what my vote percentage is.
Yeah. I just know that one of our listeners, Frank M, is going to hate my team, so I just know that right off the bat.
I'm going to get a couple listeners to be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? What the hell is Constantinople?
This was just an excuse for you to just unleash your
absolutely. I could have gone.
Eastern European history takes.
Yes.
Yeah. First,
when you said influential event in the last 1,000 years.
First, when you were going Trojan, I thought you were going to talk about like USC and Texas national title game or something. But no,
fun fact, I was at that game though. Hook 'em horns.
Oh yeah, you heard that, USC fans? That's why you shouldn't vote for him.
I mean, one of the blunders could be the Yankees blowing a 3-0 lead in 2004.
I'm honestly surprised nobody said Bill Buckner.
Well, Kevin kind of did. I mean, it was kind of on the, after the Babe Ruth curse of the Bambino, that kind of.
that's the blunder is the Babe Ruth selling Babe Ruth to the Yankees.
Right.
Like, I was considering Buckner, but I did some more research into it, and it's like that game was, I believe it was tied in extra innings, so they weren't even winning. So technically he cost them the game, but they weren't winning at that point. So
Right.
and they had a game 7 to play, so that wasn't the end of the World Series. So
Right.
I think Bill Buckner kind of gets a bad rap, honestly.
Oh, please. If any Dodgers player had done that, you'd be roasting him every day for the rest of your life.
Well, it's more of the curse that came with it, you know? Like, if they had won a World Series the next year, it would have been like, okay, whatever.
All right. Well, we have like a minute left. Is there any final thoughts for anything before we close out this podcast for the listeners?
I can't believe nobody drafted Ke'Bryan Hayes missing first base on a home run.
Oh, yeah. Things I totally think about.
Dave Roberts putting in Kershaw in 2019.
Oh, we could do a whole draft on Dave
yeah.
Roberts.
We could do a whole Dodgers draft, trading Mike Piazza, letting Beltre walk.
Telling Pedro Martinez he's too small.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason Schmidt.
I feel bad for Benedict Arnold, man. He would have been a hero. He was a hero until he defected. And he got shot at Saratoga. And if he just died there, we'd view him the same way we do George Washington. So he blew that one. He should be on this list, but
now he's just an insult.
Yeah, if we had 6 spots, he'd be on my list.
All right. Well, guys, make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening, or follow us on YouTube. And hopefully the Dodgers bring us some news soon. It's a little slow. And yeah, maybe another episode dropping in January, maybe some more interviews. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, give us a 5-star rating if you enjoy our show, and you'll hear from us soon. So yeah, go Dodgers, everyone.